Hi, welcome. My name is Henrik,
My name is Cynthia.
and welcome to our first collaborative webinar. Thank you so much for joining us today. We hope that you are as excited about this topic, which of course today is startup and startup productivity and what we as corporates or in general can learn from startups and their productivity. We hope that you will enjoy this new kind of way of town, especially in this heat at the moment. But this is a test, so let's hope that this works well. Thank you again. Before we get into what the topic is about today, I thought we'd have a little bit of just an overview of what is productivity, what is agility, and why is it actually important. So for us, there is a big difference between productivity and efficiency. Efficiency is more about doing more with the same or with less resources, less energy, and so on. Whereas productivity is more about doing things bigger and better with the same resources. But why is that really important? Well, a lot has happened since Henry Ford introduced the assembly line in 1913, and the focus shifted and has up until now been very much focused on efficiency. But with social media, which gave us a new way of communicating and a new communication tool on a global basis, reduce the cost, could engage and activate consumers and users and potential customers on a global basis at an unprecedented speed. And we had the digitization, which of course changed the way that we do business. Most people, I think, also nowadays rely on the world being exponential and not linear. These three overall reasons are one of the biggest reasons why we believe productivity is so important. Of course, startups have shown the way in their agility and their productivity. The question is then, what is productivity then about? Is it about focus? No more multitasking? Is it about the great morning where we get up 5:30 in the morning? Well, not for me personally, but is it about meaning? Is it about purpose? Is it about cutting the red tape? Is it about teamwork or solo? What is it really about? Before we get into that, then let's discuss a little bit about productivity or agility.
Well, agility is the true secret to improving productivity. But what is agility? Agility is a quick way to adapt to a changing environment. Whether it's efficient, whether it's from a digital transformation or the way people work, the working environment itself. We have seen a growing trend in the US and Europe of more employees working from outside the office, whether it's home office or co-working space. And productivity shouldn't suffer from that. Employees should be able to work wherever, however, and whenever they wish. With time, agility will become as important as company benefits. Corporates are eager to say that they are embracing and thriving on change in a constantly shifting environment. But really, it's startups that are excelling in this department. And some reasons behind that are the drive that startups have, a goal to succeed no matter what. Second, the luxury of flexibility. No office, small teams, no conventional working hours, no procedures or approvals, and no reporting system. The third is they are more in sync with the future and the growing trends. And fourth is passion and believing in your idea. Agility for startups most of the time comes down to having a laptop and an internet connection. Now let's be practical and talk about real-life examples of productivity. Joining us today are Haifa Adda, CEO of Instagram, Sarah Bacon, CEO of WeShare Property, and Andrew Cabrit, COO at Seas. Thank you all for accepting our invitation, and thank you for taking the time. CEO, we also want to thank, once we are live streaming live from one space in Green Community. We would like, it's a Whitworth location, and we would like to invite you all to visit it at some point. They have a wonderful space and they provide excellent services for all. So now back to our guests today. We will start with a quick introduction of yourselves. We will start with Haifa, Sarah, and then Andrew. Just a quick 30-second introduction of yourselves and your company, and then we will move to the
Hello,
question.
hi. My name is Haifa, and my background is beauty and luxury. The brand that we launched is Instagram Beauty app, which is an online platform connecting beauty professionals around the world with customers around the world for beauty on demand.
Hi, afternoon everybody. My name is Sarah Bacon. I'm the co-founder and CEO of We Share Property. My background is actually a lot in the corporate world, so I spent around 13 years in the corporate environment before moving to found my own company. So We Share Property essentially makes real estate investing easy, and easy for the investor and easy for the company that manages it. We do that in two main ways. Number one is by streamlining and automating a lot of the boring, non-value-adding processes of real estate investment and management, but we package these all up into a really easy-to-use application for the end investor. So making the investor's life easy to invest in real estate as it is to order a pizza or do your banking or order stocks and shares all through your phone.
Hi, my name is Andrew. I'm the co-founder and COO of C. That was before starting C's, and then upon graduating, I started deploying some of my AI abilities towards a startup, and that eventually grew into C's. What we do is we're surgeons of cars, so we sort of like how Kayak works for hotels. We search all websites that has cars and bring them into one app. This allows you to search on a country level rather than just a small segment of the country. And we use some AI to do negotiation of the cars. So when you see a car, it's not the listed price of the car, it's the final price the car is available for. And then because we have access to all data in the market, we also do price estimation of each individual car and the expected depreciation. So you would know what is the real cost of owning this car versus buying the full price, because those two things are different. So yeah, sort of like how Kelly Blue Book works in the US.
Perfect. Thank you very much, all three of you, for sharing it. Andrew, now that we have you here, I think the first question that we really want to get a little bit of perspective on is, can you give us a few maybe examples or an insight, a look under the hood, if you will, to stay in the car methodology or so on, in that of productivity within your organization?
Yeah, so like we talked about here earlier, like our company is very focused on like remote work, which is a big challenge when you're working from several different countries and several different time zones. And to do this, we applied the agile development form combined with the design thinking. One of the things that we focus a lot on that is different from what I've experienced with corporate, again, my experience with corporate is very limited, but I do have a little, is that the main thing that we do differently is that we make decisions very, very, very fast. So once we have to make a decision, we make sure that every stakeholder is in the meeting, and then we can actually make the decision and do the change right after that meeting is done. There's no, and it's the not having a too long of a timeline for us. 3 weeks is a long time, so we try to keep our like goals. Like we obviously have like visions and stuff like that, but the day-to-day tasks and how things are done can change like over one meeting. So it's about always staying fresh and always being ready for change. And every time a new challenge appears, just handling it straight on. No time for figuring out like who should be involved in this and all that. That gets sorted as we get started, and people know that this is how we work. So it makes a lot easier. There's also a lot of challenges with remote work, but we can get into that later if you'd like.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Andrew. Really appreciate that. Great insights. All right, Haifa, what about you?
Okay, what was the question again? No, I know it. I'm just so at Instagram we're 3 founding partners, and we use our time efficiently and productively. So we manage the show, and we use cafes, WeWork, locations. Sometimes we go to the office, and sometimes from home. And we communicate with our team through WhatsApp and Slack. So we work with the professionals and the internal team and the digital marketing team through Slack and WhatsApp a lot. In terms of agility, we listen a lot to our customers, so we're always in touch with the consumers, and we do market research and calls after services to understand what went wrong and how happy are they with the app and with the interaction overall, with the whole user experience. And we are in the 14th version of our app. So we keep on listening and improving our technology to adapt to the customer feedbacks.
Very interesting. Thank you so much. And last but not least, Sarah, would you share some examples, some insights from your side?
Yeah, sure. So I think the interesting thing, what I just realized actually while my other two founders were talking, is actually a lot of startups are trying to solve some measure of productivity issue out in the market, and that's what our companies all do. Whether it's Andrew's looking at connecting people buying cars, whether it's Hyder's around beauty, or myself in real estate investments, three completely different industries. Startups are really good at going out there, finding a particular issue that needs to be solved with a customer, and quite often that manifests itself in some kind of productivity waste, and fixing it, and adapting it. And Andrew touched on agile project management. Anyone in the tech sphere will be very familiar with that, and that's really around breaking things into bite-sized chunks, working it, iterating it, testing it with customer feedback. So actually, I think startups kind of, doesn't matter what industry you're in, live and breathe productivity, because we have to, right? We live or die by the sales that we generate, and if we're not productive, we're not generating sales. In terms of me specifically, so I just thought I'd sort of share a few personal examples. I'm really militant with my time and how I spend my time. So as a really basic example, I will not arrange any meetings for 9 a.m. in the morning that require me to get across town in Dubai, because a journey that will take me 15 minutes at 10 o'clock will take me an hour and 10, if I'm going at 8 o'clock. That's just a waste of an hour. So that's an hour when I'm not doing something related to pushing forward your business. So there's a lot of really basic practical things that you can do to increase your productivity. Getting off emails, so again, coming from a corporate background, so much time spent on email, reply calls, going back to, chipping in with your opinion, someone else chipping in with their opinion, total waste of time. So our team pretty much works zero by email. We use other forms like Slack, like WhatsApp, which my colleagues have also talked about. Outsourcing as well, outsourcing non-value adding work. So use of virtual assistants, use of online calendar scheduling tools. There's like a whole wealth of information out there. Generally all started by startups as well, which is kind of fun to be part of, which just help you to be the most productive with your time and with your day that you can be, because as a startup founder, you don't know this until you're in it. The most valuable resource you have is time. And if someone wastes your time, that is like taking money out of your pocket. So we have to squeeze every inch of productivity out of our time as we can.
Thank you so much, Sarah, for your insight. And since you are there, I'm going to ask you just quickly, since you also left the corporate job and started your own business, what are the biggest differences from corporate to startup, Sarah?
So I already touched certainly on emails. I would go to bed at 10 o'clock and wake up at 6:30 with like 30 emails in my inbox. That was very challenging just to keep on top of from a productivity standpoint. So that's certainly a difference. This idea of this really short communication cycles, I think, is way better in startups than corporates. It's a very different environment. It's not to say that corporates are wrong, but they have bigger businesses, they have more people to align to kind of get towards a goal. Startups just get to move really quickly. There's certainly less bureaucracy, less corporate overhead, less governance, and sort of you're freed up from a lot of that once you're in the startup world. So that, that essentially just, helps your productivity. One of the downsides is that you are, released from some of that teamwork and some of that support network that you have. So that's something I think a lot of startup founders also find maybe a little bit more of the negative side is when you do strike out on your own, you don't have that team around you to help you be better, to support you and to keep moving towards a common goal. So that's probably one of the downsides as well, I would say.
Haifa, over to you. Also, you have left a big corporation to start your own business, from corporate to startup.
Absolutely, and I agree on a lot of what Sarah said. And my main point is no more bureaucracy, so less complex procedure and approval from different divisions. It takes much longer in a corporate world, like at a corporation, than it takes with our startups to get approval on things, to make decisions. And it's important decisions for the company and for to save time and effort. Less conflict, because when you're a small team, I guess, or when it's so personal, you all have the same vision and you're always on the same page. So we work toward the same objective and the company vision. And the third thing is less complication, duplication, I mean. So not at the corporate company that I was working, we have a lot of different divisions repeating the same procedure and doing the same thing instead of putting everything together and learning from each other. So it's time again, basically.
Andrew, over to you for the big difference from corporate to startup.
So yeah, like I said, my experience with corporate is very limited. I only worked like a year or so as in a corporate, but from my experience there, the biggest change is definitely the way that information flows. In corporate companies, information has a tendency to bottle up in different departments with different people. Different people holds different information that is relevant for different projects. Whereas in startups, because we are so small and because it's much easier to control, we can let the information flow much more freely. Like for using softwares like Slack, etc. It makes the information come in smaller bites, which makes it a lot more digestible for everyone in the team to actually understand what's going on. This allows that the emails are very, very limited, and long messages can usually be preserved for when we have a meeting, we try to keep them below 15 minutes because they're used in the 1 year I had at a corporate, there was a trend where relaxing period. So during that relaxing period, they would normally book 1 hour for something that would take maximum 15 minutes, 20 minutes to achieve. And we don't do that here. Once we have a meeting, we get very quickly to the point, get things sorted out, and once everything is agreed on, we take the next step and move on. And that is only achievable because information flows very freely throughout the company, and therefore everybody knows what we're talking about. Everybody is filled in on everything before the meeting even starts. And that's a very efficient way for us to have everyone aligned on the same line, and everybody not having to fill in anyone on what's going on in this current meeting to the next executive.
Very interesting. Very, very good insights from all of you. I've taken down a lot of my notes at least for future reference in that. So the last point we really wanted to cover off to today is a little bit more about your recommendations, your number one, maybe 1, 2, 3 things that you think could be the biggest learnings from corporates from the startup environment. So Andrew, do you want to go start? You're on a roll right now, so why don't we continue with you?
Sure. There are several things that can be tried. Like the one I mentioned now with the shorter meetings, that's definitely one big thing that needs to be done. But another thing that I've seen, because we work a lot with corporates right now, and one thing that we see that they could do that they're not really doing is maybe they could build a smaller team consisting of experts from the different fields that they're trying them work independently of the rest of the organization. often these teams, like if you just take some really key people and then let them go out and become like a SWAT team, if you want to call them that, or like a SEAL team, have them just do their own thing, not report to any middle management, like report straight to the CEO, and have them do their thing, like that main thing, and make it very, very specific. What is it these guys are set out to do? Are they here to change something within the organization? Are they trying out a new product? They can even branch out with another name, because sometimes organizations are very afraid of using their own brand for experimenting. We experiment a lot with everything, and even now we're starting to build a brand, so we have to worry about that. But we can still launch experiments where we just use another brand name and then launch the experiment, get the data we need, and then if it works, then we incorporate it in the company itself. This method of pulling out a small team of the company, it doesn't have to be like from one, like from the same department. You can take from different departments, put them together, and then have them do their thing. How to do that, you that are used to being keyboard warriors now have to suddenly go out there and work together in a totally different environment. It requires some training for them, and the first couple of experiments will probably fail. But once they get a hang of it, once they get the feeling of entrepreneurship, I'm pretty sure that this will allow them to do things that startups already do. Maybe not as efficiently, because there is still some other benefits from startups, but definitely more efficient than what they're already doing in the corporate companies.
Very cool. Thank you so much, Andrew. Very exciting. So what about Haifa?
Okay, I would, yeah, sorry, I thought the microphone was off. I would say to make sure that you share the vision of the company at the beginning when you're hiring people, and hire people that share the passion and have the same goal as everybody else. Another thing that I find very important and relevant is to always have an introductory for whoever joins the company about the brand mission, the values that the brand holds or the company, and its vision with all team members and new joiners. Last and the most important one is to empower people, so people have a certain decision-making power, so they can decide on things and delegate properly to their team.
Very good. Thank you so much. And Sarah?
Yeah, so a slightly different take on it. So I think what corporates can learn from startups is that they need to work more closely with startups and kind of get the best of both worlds. Some corporates I've seen do this really well, where, for example, they're trying to find an innovative solution to a problem, whether that's a new particular energy source, or whether that's a customer feedback, whether that's logistics software, whatever it is. It's actually probably going to be a startup who's going to be able to get in there, get to the crux of it, adapt, grow, get customer feedback, and solve that problem. So they need to be able to understand how to work in partnerships with startups who are solving the problems that are strategically important for their company. And they can't solve those by, using a tender process or a procurement process where a startup is kind of engulfed and overwhelmed by this corporate machine. They have to do that in a way, exactly like Andrew was talking about, is keeping them outside of that corporate hierarchy, making sure they have the right levels plugged into the organization, but actually taking the best that the startup brings, which is agility, ability to listen and respond to customer feedback, and building out a product, but a product that ultimately may or may not be commercialized into that company. So there are some corporates that are starting to, take a step in this direction, to the extent that they're almost outsourcing R&D nowadays to the startup community, and making sure that that's structured in a very careful way, so that the startup is not engulfed by this overwhelming bureaucracy and corporate processes, which, by the way, they're there for good reason. Because if you have a company of 100,000 people and everyone's charging off agile project management everywhere you've got chaos. So, it has to be a very carefully designed relationship to actually bring the best from these both members of the ecosystem. So yeah, I mean, my takeaway from what corporates learn from startups, and vice versa, by the way, is that there needs to be more structured collaboration between these groups. And in that way, you get innovation from the corporate perspective, and the startups get scale. So it's win-win.
I actually have one more thing I want to add on that as well.
Yeah, Andrew, you have something to add?
Yeah, so it's just another thing I forgot about totally, but once you guys talked about it as well, it became clear. A main theme that I see in a lot of corporate companies is that they have they're very afraid of failing, and they're very afraid of being the one responsible for things. I see countless times that even like high-level management will be afraid of making a decision because then it's on their shoulders, and then if something goes wrong, it's their fault. And I think this fault attitude is really, really damaging for most companies. In our company, like in Seas, whenever something goes wrong, it's not a question about whose fault is it. It's a question about what did we learn from that mistake, and how do we change it moving forward. And we can take on responsibility, and we don't if they make the wrong decision, we don't punish them for that wrong decision, because those things are part of the learning. It's part of actually growing as a company, and it's growing as people themselves. And if you don't allow people to do that, you won't be able to make decisions. We see countless times where corporate companies that we work with can't make a decision because the person who's supposedly in charge won't take charge and won't say, this is on me. They won't take ownership for the task that they're supposed to do. And because it has to go through tons of approvals before they're feeling comfortable, like, yes, now everyone has ownership. So then it's fine. But this mentality of like accepting failure, accepting that you are allowed to fail, and then take ownership of that failure. Like I countless time go in and say like, yes, this was me, I should have done this differently. But then knowing that I don't get punished for doing that actually helps me grow and helps the company learn from my mistakes, so that other people do the same. Of course, there is a situation where there's a limit to that, but as a general rule, like doing something wrong shouldn't be punished. It should be like more focused on as a learning.
Excellent.
Completely agree. Very, very interesting. Gonna jump back to the ladies again. If you have anything to add to that?
We don't have any questions at the moment.
Yeah, no, Andrew's spot on, absolutely spot on. I mean, there is this, you are very much protected in a corporate world around also making a mistake, that there are approvals and there are committees and X, Y, Z, and it goes up through so many layers until somebody hopefully eventually makes a decision. The idea that you started off with, even if it gets approved, has kind of morphed into something that you don't recognize because the messages have been massaged and come up. So and I think the startup world is really kind of refreshing because they almost expect failure. If you haven't failed yet, it's probably because you're about to. And when you fail and you come out the other side of it and your business is stronger and better, and you as a founder are stronger and better, actually that's what builds great businesses. You don't read of many business leaders out there who, the Bezos and these guys of the world who haven't learned through failure. And it is just something that is not really there yet from a large corporate. But yeah, startups, it's what we do, and we move on from it, and we brush it off and get up the next day and face the next challenge. So I think that was a great point Andrew made.
Very interesting. Thank you so much. I think there's been some absolutely fantastic insights to today in terms of how we shift from a mindset of efficiency to a mindset. Not a one-day journey. This was a quick look underneath the hood in startup productivity, what that can do. But again, no corporate is the same. It's all about, as our panel talked about today, experimentation, trying new things, taking ownership, learning from other places in terms of relearning some of the things that we're doing right now, and keeping an open mind, but at the same time having a clear definition of that responsibility and of that ownership, no matter where we go down in this journey.
And I mean, the biggest benefits are, I mean, obviously is the increased profitability, lowering operation costs and other things, and increasing efficiency and productivity. But it's also the benefits for corporates are you improve your customer service, seize the opportunity for growth, and don't be afraid of it. Reduce waste, and this is something that we've been, I mean, everybody is talking about. Improve competitiveness, how important it is to be living in a competitive environment, in a competitive ecosystem. So we don't stay complacent, and you know, we always want to be more creative and go beyond our ideas. Enhance well-being, whether it's very important that the employees at the heart of the company who are making things happen to feel good, to be well, to come to work happy every day. And that takes me to empowering employees. Empowering someone in your company is very important. You make them feel that they are a really critical part of the team, and they can feel that they are making a difference. And this is very important. And most of all, to close that, is creating a culture of entrepreneurship. We always talk about entrepreneurship, which are but we also have the other side, and this is something that we need to encourage, is entrepreneurship, like leading a project inside a company, because that is as good as and as successful as being an entrepreneur. So leading inside of a company. We want to thank all the people who have tuned in today.
Thank you so much.
Henrik, we want to thank our guests, Andrew. Thank you so much for coming and being part of our first collaborative webinar, which we hope it's going to be a series of. If anyone has comments or any questions or any ideas for future topics, please do not hesitate to let us know. Or ourselves, Whitworth, Dubai Union Consulting, are all reachable via our social media platform, as well as our guests from We Share Property, Instagram, and Seize. You can as well reach them. Henrik.
Thank you so much for attending today. It's been a pleasure having you here. I hope to see you soon. Tune in for our next episode. Thank you so much and have a lovely day.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.